The Shadow Colonel has played his ultimate trump card, and now the Avengers are going to have to go all out if they want to stop a brand new generation of vampires from being born. All this and more in the pages of Avengers issue number 17. Let's hop on in together and find out what happens next, shall we? Alrighty then, so picking up from where we last left off, the Red Widow, the leader of the Winter Guard, was extracting information from Dracula, the king of the vampires, with extreme prejudice, I might add. Once all of his consorts are dead and the Russian heroes feel that they've gotten exactly what they want out of him, they're ready to give him his just reward. What did Dracula want? Only lands to call his own. But, you know, this is Russia we're dealing with here, and land is at something of a premium, so if Dracula wants a place he's not going to be disturbed, he'll just have to settle with the Chernobyl bomb zone. Oh sure, at first glance this seems like poor real estate, but you're not going to get any door-to-door salesmen or Jehovah's Witnesses here. Now, Dracula would seem actually made it out of that Russian gulag at the best time, because the Shadow Colonel and his forces were ready to attack. They not only planned to take the prison, but also transform all the inmates into new vampires. Heck, it's implied that they kill or transform most of the Winter Guard, well, except for Ursa Major, because he's already a werebear and you can't turn that into a vampire. It would just be too overpowered. You'd need to nerf it in the next update. In a clever bit of writing, too, Red Widow, who was oh so tough before, tries to make a deal with the Shadow Colonel, even though in the previous issue she said how she cuts no deals. The Avengers make the scene and a giant battle ensues. Obviously, because this is team versus team, we got a bunch of little side stories going on. Black Panther still thinks he can master a cure to vampirism, and tries to offer the process to Snow Snake, the ancient Japanese vampire, because, I mean, obviously, if they're a Japanese vampire, they must have some sense of honor, yes? Then there's Captain America, who picks a fight with the Baroness, an evil Nazi vampiress, who goes on about the rise of the Fourth Reich, only for Steve to say, "Lady, that's old news even for me." Heck, even Thor's demon dog Thori gets in on the action, fighting off the evil dog belonging to the Colonel. Yeah, you heard it here first, everyone. The Avengers totally condone demonic dogfighting. The real meat and potatoes of this battle, though, is of course Blade having his one-on-one duel against the Shadow Colonel, who pulls out all the stops against him: Gatling guns, laser eyes. But Blade is ready to go to any lengths, no matter how brutal, to bring down his vampire foe, whether that means chopping off limbs, stealing Boy Thing off the Shadow Colonel. You know, whatever it takes. Luckily, though, he doesn't have to fight alone. Robbie Ray as the Ghost Rider makes his return, needing to get back a win over the Shadow Colonel for getting manipulated in the first half of this arc. And while working together, Blade is finally able to get the upper hand. Black Panther doesn't want Blade to kill this vampire, which is kind of strange considering that he is Blade the Vampire Hunter. It's literally his name and job description. Secondly, the Shadow Colonel is a vampire, hence already undead, so Blade really isn't killing him so much as re-killing him. And thirdly, the Avengers don't exactly have a set-in-stone no-kill rule now, do they? Of course, none of this still answers the question, and that is, who actually was the Shadow Colonel under the mask? Well, get ready for it. Turns out the Shadow Colonel was actually Dracula's own son. And in fact, this entire vampire civil war was masterminded by Dracula himself. Yeah, he planned the whole thing out just so he and vampire kind could have a new kingdom. Basically, Drac lied, cheated, stole, killed his own people, and set the American and Russian governments against each other just so he could rebuild his forces in secret. And while this undead battle is done with, the real vampire wars are only just getting started, but we'll have to wait till tell that story another day. And so that was the Avengers issue number 17, everybody, and I gotta say that ultimately was a pretty solid conclusion to this arc. I like that this was all part of some bigger master plan for Dracula. I liked seeing Blade and Ghost Rider grow a little closer as friends, joined together by the weird paranormal stuff that they have to deal with every single day. I liked seeing an actually pretty big status quo shakeup for the vampires in the Marvel Universe. I hope another writer should pick up on that in the future, especially if Blade ever gets his own spin-off series, which I think is bound to happen one of these days. Overall, I think I'd feel comfortable giving this one an 8 out of 10. I was pretty satisfied.
Oh, hey there, didn't see you come in. I'm Cape Joel. Thanks so much for watching to the end of the video. I'm just hanging out here trying to figure out how to keep these intros fresh and interesting for everybody. Like the video, that would be nice, I'd appreciate it, but I'm not going to push you to do it. You can also follow me on Twitter and Facebook at Cape Joel, so you can keep up to date on what I'm doing next. I have I have an Instagram. I feel like I don't push the Instagram enough, but I have it. I have a backup gameplay channel as well. I get the feeling people who watch my comic content don't really want to watch me play video games, at least that's what the numbers would tell me, but it's the Joel Daily channel. You can also see me play games live on the Cape Joel Twitch. I got a tip jar down there, I got a Patreon page, got an Amazon wish list. Some of you are really nice to do that for me. That's where I get fun, cool sweaters like this off my Amazon wish list. I appreciate the people who do that. It's really nice of them. And yeah, that's all I got to say. Man, it's hard to try and keep these outros fresh sometimes, I tell you. But thanks again for watching, and I'll be back again later, just smacking those comics up, man. Just doing it. Did I call it comic smack because I make the smack sound, or am I saying that comics are my addiction, and that's why it's comic smack? I dropped the comic smack after a bit because the channel is called Cape Joel. I should really have called it all comic smack from the beginning of with. Oh, well, hindsight's 20/20. Goodbye, everyone.